What's up, Budget Wargamers? We are back, and we've got some news and announcements from Games Workshop. It's something that I find a little bit odd, so stay tuned. And let's not forget that we're in our last week of our 500 subscriber giveaway. So we are giving away this box of Corvus Belli Infinity. This is the Steel Phalanx starter set for the Aleph faction. Wish it would focus in there a little bit better for you guys, but this is a good starter box, of which a few other blister packs added to it would be a nice 300-point force. And if you're interested in checking out Infinity, although we don't talk about them a whole lot, you can head on over to the Corvus Belli website. Last time I checked, the Infinity rules and army builder are free to download, so it's a very fun game to get involved with from a budget sense. You can go gangbusters on it and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, or you can get a nice competitive force with these nice pewter miniatures. They're very highly detailed for about $100. This is a $48 box that usually includes more than half of what you would need, and you got to figure you'll add some specialists and other things to it. So definitely check out that game if you're interested, and comment below that you'd like that Steel Phalanx box, and we'll be doing a drawing this upcoming weekend. We'll do one of those random giveaway drawers. We'll put you in one time for every eligible video that you have commented that you want the Steel Phalanx in, and then we'll be giving that out. Then coming up next, right up here, other hand, we'll be giving away either a No Fear, Blood and Thunder, or one of the Start Collecting box sets when we hit 1,000 subscribers, and we're currently at 555 subscribers, so that is coming up very quick. It seems like we've grown quite a bit here in recent times. And then let me take a moment, because it's been a few videos since I've acknowledged some of my new subscribers. I don't want you guys to feel like you've been left out, but definitely make sure you hit the like button on these videos and subscribe to me to help show your support. That like button helps give YouTube signals that you are interested in videos like this and that you like hearing about Warhammer and other budget war games out there. So Nathan Howard, thanks for subscribing. He's our newest subscriber to hit the list. Harry Cross, I appreciate all the comments. You've dove in. You've been watching quite a few of my videos, so I really appreciate that and the camaraderie we've already picked up here. The Prince of Lies has joined the channel. Thank you very much, sir. And a quick plug to my friend Redbeard Boss. If you're not watching his channel, he's a guy that I have conversed with many times at a local game store here in Phoenix, Arizona. He's growing a channel out of the north end of Phoenix, and he's got real one-on-one talk about the hobby. He is a no BS kind of guy, really cool kid, and feel free to check him out, Redbeard Boss. I may even put a link in the video for you guys to find him. Papa Two Wars, you're in there. Richard Thompson, Gary Hollingdale, Caspian Clayson, Dave Macy. Let's see who else we got. Robert Heath, Ranma 711. Let's keep it going. 10 Dead Gods. There can only be one. Paul Greer. Bob Pfeiffer. I know you, sir. Sir, I know you. Guys, Bob doesn't make videos on YouTube, but I appreciate him chiming in. I've been a friend of Bob since I was back in college in the days I worked for Games Workshop, so he knows me well. When I was talking about getting those Foot Lockers of Blood Bowl minis, yeah, Bob, you got a lot of those. So may not still have them today, but Muhammad Baroudi, and oh, this is a tough one. Yeah, it's definitely harder than Muhammad Baroudi. It's Egidigus Sisanus. I am so sorry I butchered that, because there's no way in heck I got the phonics on that correct. Cinderfall Gaming, Brain Spider, Gavin Garner, Jill Valentine, Iris Slovenia, and that's as far as I can get down the list. Hate to bore you guys all, but let's go ahead and dive into what's the topical conversation today. And I tell you what, Games Workshop is targeting a demographic of people of which their games are not even technically appropriate for. If you've looked at the boxes, most of the war games are, it could just be because of, you know, can't be huffing and puffing super glue, can't be understanding complex rules, can't be gluing their fingers to things and all that. But last I checked, these Warhammer miniatures were designed for models, hobbyists 12 and up. Yeah, so it says it right, oop, wrong camera. So it says it right here where my fat finger was, 12 and up. So that's what Games Workshop has been targeting as their demographic in terms of reasonably being able to play it. But it doesn't mean that they're not looking to funnel some people into the hobby here through a new grade school. I want to say children's, but it's grade school targeted literature. So this isn't Black Library. This is written towards people 8 to 12 years old. And I've got a son turning 8 here in a couple weeks. So he's definitely into Warhammer. So I think you can see where there's a lot of interest from those that are typically too young to get into the hobby, or that most parents would consider ready to get into the hobby, but they still want to learn about the models. They're interested in spacemen, they're interested in robots, they're interested in lasers and blasters and grenades and tanks and bombs and aliens, you name it. And they love superheroes too. My son's a big fan of Iron Man. So let's take a look here at Warhammer Adventures in their own words, and let's see what you guys have to say. Is this heresy? You know, is talking about this like having a juvenile AdMech, is that part of the typical Games Workshop canon? Or is this clearly a way of them selling out? You know, going from Black Library, which admittedly has been a very successful branch and operation over the last years for Games Workshop, to be able to be publishing all of those many great books and building out the stories and backgrounds, as much as there's been conflicting canon and stuff like that. But are these stories here with the various characters geared towards children of all ages, 8 to 12 years old? Is this really something that Warhammer needed? And do you see this actually building up a better base of war gamers for the near future? In 4 years, will these 8-year-olds be those prime 12-year-olds who have a full, deep understanding of Warhammer? Will the hobby get younger so that it's not just a bunch of people having to check their blood sugars after the second round of a tournament and things like that? So I joke, but I only half joke because I know it's true. If you've been hanging out in many hobby stores, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. People got a case of the Wilford Brimleys. But with Warhammer Adventures, let's read it out. It says there's two options. You can go for the 41st Millennium and go the 40K route, or you can go down the fantasy route and you could be talking about the Mortal Realms, which of course would be a Warhammer and Age of Sigmar. So here's a look at some of the characters. We've got some of these people like a Sigmarite priest listed here. I'm sort of at a loss for what type of steampunk style priestess that would be, or what have you. But let's take a look at 40K. We've got an Imperial Navigator as well as an AdMech. So boy, girl, not quite sure. But what's your take on this? This is definitely the most unusual art I have seen from Games Workshop in a while. And that's saying a lot, considering right up here next to it is a flying shark with a bunch of elves and a harpoon launcher and probably laser beams coming out of its foreheads. So here we are. We've got a lot of people interested in it. Now, me as an adult, I've been in the hobby 20 years, give or take. I think it's actually over 20 years. I've got a son who's been admiring these models since maybe the time he was 3, dragging him into the stores with me, and he'd be kicking and screaming on his way out, wanting to buy some models for himself. I have been reluctant. We've gotten into some gaming, Star Wars Legion. He's gotten into Shadespire, so he definitely loves the Warhammer Age of Sigmar minis. He loves some of the 40K minis. He's painted a few of them up. Back here in the case, there's a few times that him and I have entered different store painting competitions. So, and that's him from the age of 6 to 7 that he's been participating actively in the hobby and painting stuff up. And you'd be surprised, because even as a 6 or 7-year-old, I think that because he watches me, he probably paints just as good as a lot of your average hobbyists out there. He may not know much about color theory or proper colors, but he knows how to put the paint down, especially when I give him some direction. So Warhammer Adventures is something that, you know, I don't read books, so maybe this is something that's right up my caliber. You know, I hardly read the rule books. I skip past all the fluff. I look at the full color pictures. I look at the painting, you know, the command and colors, whatever you want to call the different heraldry of the armies. And then I get straight into the rules and I read those up and down. And then I read the rule book and I cut through all the chase and I go right to the rules. I've been living and breathing Warhammer for so long, I don't need to get into the nitty-gritty to find out who's got a beef with who. Really, we get on the tabletop, my miniatures are going to try to kick your miniatures' butt. I need to know how my models are going to pair against your models and what's the best, what's my most effective chance at eliminating threats from your side of the table on any given turn. So here's a look at 2 of the beginning books. We got City of Lifestone, so that's going to be different. That's not City of Mirrors, which would be Shadespire. So we've got a little bit of like what looks like Chaos Marauder / Blood Reavers versus Sigmar, Stormcast Eternals, and then we have 3 young characters probably taking an observing role. It'd be real interesting to see if they come out and fight, especially this one with the slingshot is going to be like David and Goliath and taking down one of the chieftains of the Blood Reavers or the Khorne Marauders. And then we have the Warhammer Adventures here where we show another character that wasn't shown above. And what is he, like a traitor of some sort? Not quite sure, but the kid's already got a scar on his face, so you know, in the age of undying war in the 41st millennium, even children aren't safe. So that just goes to show you. But let's take a look. I don't know how much these things are actually going to cost. Let's go ahead. I pulled up their website here. Let's dive in. This is strange. I didn't see this coming, and I don't know if you guys had heard much about it. I'm going to go ahead and accept those cookies. Hopefully they come with milk. But let's go in and see what is Warhammer Adventures. They show a kid reading it right there at home, presumably. Got his feet up on that IKEA shelf. That kid ought to get those things down from there. Want to find out more? Sign up here. So maybe this is pre-release. Yeah, let's go ahead and put that in there, right? So let me go ahead and take that offline, fill that out. Just because you never know what kind of weirdos are out there on the internet, you know? People could be playing miniature games with little plastic hobby men or something like that. It could be completely weird. All right, so we went ahead and we subscribed to it. We'll see what's coming out because, you know, this could be something where my son, he's challenged with reading, but he's very interested in reading, really good at math, and he's really just looking at, I don't know if he's trying to be more like me, but I think it's just really cool stuff. And I didn't get into this sort of stuff because I grew up in a small town during the same age as him. It wasn't until I had gotten to Arizona in about the 6th grade that I had a place that had access to things like game stores and hobby stores that weren't just trying to sell remote control cars and stuff like that, or baseball cards, because those are certainly popular in the early 90s. But yeah, I'd just like to see your comments below. This is an odd video, but once again, go ahead and chime in that you want the steel phalanx, and if I'll point this at the right camera. Yeah, I like having 2 cameras. It gives a good point of view. This one seems to be better than the one on the computer, despite having spent thousands of dollars on this iMac. It has a crap computer camera on it. But one of these days we'll go through and we'll show the things in the case so you guys can balk at how I've got so many armies that are in kind of a half-assed state of not assembly, but a half-assed state of painting. You know, if you want to, come on down, start painting my models if you don't have some of your own. I've got the paint, I've got the models, you've got the time. Half joking, but yeah, we'll put you to work. Anyways, this has been Budget Wargamer. Stay tuned for some more stuff. I know the 40K people are looking for a lot of new releases and some great information, and we may be in a little bit of a drought with Age of Sigmar 2.0 coming up, so you're just going to have to weather through that. We will be having new codexes coming out. We know Imperial Knights is coming down the line, so there's a lot to look forward to here during the summer and after the summer from Warhammer 40,000.